Welcome to video 3. Automate your budget tracking. Oh, this is a great lesson. This is super sexy. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody likes this. It is tactical. It is annoying. It is a slog. It's a hill you climb up, but it is worthwhile. And let me tell you why. When people first start budgeting, when I first started budgeting, I used a checkbook. How many of you used a checkbook or were told by your parents to balance your checkbook every month? Me, did it, hated it, really annoying. You have to write down every purchase in your checkbook and then you know what your balance is, and oh my goodness, it is so difficult. And it's difficult and it is annoying and people don't do it, and then you don't know how much money you have, and then you don't know where you are in your goals. And then how do you fulfill your goals if you don't know where you are? How do you know how much you have left in your grocery budget if you haven't been keeping track? Well, let me tell you, stop keeping track of it by hand. Start automating it. It is so easy now with the technology we have. You can pull out your phone, figure out how much you have left to spend in the grocery store, and then go hog wild in that grocery store. Actually, don't go hog wild, but like stay within your budget. And it just makes it so easy. Now let me tell you, let me start with how I learned how to do this. Again, I started out budgeting using a checkbook. I put every expense in there. I put the $15 I spent going to a dance in my checkbook. And it got monotonous, it got difficult, I got out of the habit and I stopped doing it, and then I got into more debt, and then I hit that rock bottom where I didn't have enough money to buy that fruit salad. And I thought, okay, I'll just get right back on the horse and then it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'll keep track of every expense, and after a few days I stopped doing that again, and it was difficult. I told you my first budgeting experience was a complete disaster. It was a mess, and I cried and I couldn't do it. Like, it's just not going to work out. And I thought, this is too difficult. I can't do this. Well, I'm a millennial. And I learned somehow, I don't know if somebody told me or if I just found it online, but I found a program by Intuit that was free called mint.com. And that's what I'm going to show you today. You can hook up your bank account and your credit cards, and it will automatically categorize things. You kind of have to teach it, and like, it's not, the AI isn't great, but you have to teach it and recategorize things every once in a while. But then you know what you have in your budget, you know what you have left, and it's a semi-automatic budget tracking system. Let me tell you the steps. It's super easy. I learned this by doing it myself. You use mint.com, or if you want another budget program, you need a budget, or the paid every dollar program. The point here is you need it to be automatic and you need it to be easy. So you take that Google Sheet that you did in the last lesson, follow along, do your homework every lesson, and you'll be able to do this no problem. You take that sheet and you basically copy it over into mint.com. So you have your income, put in your total income. You have your expenses, put in your expenses. They have preset categories and they have ways to add categories. So I'll show you that, but it'll also tell you your bottom line. I'll point that out too. So we're going to use mint.com in this course, in this lesson, because it is free, it's easy, and it does exactly what we needed to do. There's an app and you can recategorize things on the fly. So here's what you do. You have your Google Sheet budget, you add your budget to mint.com, and then you let it run. You modify things every once in a while, the beginning of every month. Say you need a higher gift budget because it's you have 2 birthdays instead of one. Great, add a little bit more to the gift budget. Let's say you get a bonus. Great, add a little bit more to your income. Make sure that it all aligns, and it should all align dollar for dollar from your Google Sheets budget, your bottom line budget, to your mint.com budget. Now, the reason we do the Google Sheets budget first and then we do the mint.com budget is because the Google Sheets budget, the bottom line budget, is a lot more straightforward. You can see everything in one place. You'll see when we get into the tactics here that the mint.com budget isn't as straightforward. We're using it for what it's good for, a tracking system. You want to track your expenses in mint.com, just your expenses. It's not very good at anything else. Don't use the goals. Don't use the investment, visualizer. It's confusing. And I'm a financial coach. I've been doing this for a long time, and I still find their investment thing really confusing. It doesn't make sense. So use mint.com for what it's good for, which is tracking your expenses and putting them in those budget categories. So let's get into it. That's it. That's the entire step. That's all of this video. Let's get into how. All right. You've created your account. You've hooked up your bank account, your credit card, so you can see what's going on here. Go ahead, and it has some preset categories. It probably has food and groceries. Let's just go from top to bottom and make sure that you have all of your categories hooked up. So as you see here, I'm using, let's just go through an example. I'll go through that same family's budget, the same couple that I coach will use their budget and put it right in mint.com. Go into groceries. Here's their grocery budget. I'm typing it in. Every month, use it or lose it. Great. Now let's go into another budget. Let's go into their Christmas sinking fund here. This is a little bit different. They've been, we're just now adding it. It is March, and they've been saving for Christmas since January. You would think, all right, well, let's just put their total budget, what they're going to spend and when they're going to spend it. But mint.com doesn't have a way for you to figure out, okay, I've already saved some of this money, so we're going to retroactively say I've saved it. It doesn't. So we're going to use that calculation, that Christmas calculation of $1,500 divided by 12, and we're going to put it in and say it rolls over so we know how much we have to spend in December for Christmas. So let's do that. Let's put that in here, and we'll see it roll over and continue to be there. Okay, so click this button over here and make sure that it's then set up. So we use that for things like vehicle excise tax in Massachusetts, things like car registration and other expenses that are annual. Maybe you pay your insurance annually, like renter's insurance, home insurance, car insurance. If you pay it annually or semi-annually or every 3 months, like I pay property tax every 3 months, then we put it in that other category, not the I pay it every 3 months category, but the rollover. We put that check mark in there. So we're saving. That's our sinking fund. Then when we do pay that expense, it takes from that category and it tells us, okay, well, we've zeroed it out every 3 months, 6 months, a year. Does that make sense? All right. So in this video, you're taking your Google Sheets budget, you're transposing it over. We're reviewing that budget, and you'll see here, here's where your bottom line is. Are you negative or are you positive? This should match your Google Sheets budget. You have all of your minimums in here. That bottom line, you know what you're doing with it. Mint is going to ask you to put in a goal. Don't do that. It tracks it in like a savings account, and it's super confusing. So don't use that. Just ignore it. You know what you're doing with your bottom line. We're going to track that over here in the Google Sheet, but you can see it all adds up. And then you can see what you're doing. So as you go through the month, you can use your phone, and I would use my phone, but I'm recording on it. You can use your phone and say, okay, what do I have left on my shopping budget? Do I have enough to get this shirt or not? No? I'm going to put it back. What do I have left in my grocery budget? Do we have enough to have the steak dinner? No? I guess we're eating chicken. or beans or what have you. So you can pull out your phone and use the Mint app. Buy into it. The same people who make QuickBooks and TurboTax, and check where you are on your budget every month. I do it right before I go grocery shopping or make our meal plan. Go ahead and pull it out. Make sure you log into Mint, and it has that like face. You know, if you use an iPhone, it'll use your face for a password, and it automates your tracking. Now, I will say, as you're going through your transactions, Mint.com is going to miscategorize things. It's going to put things in different categories than you would, especially if you made your own categories. So go through and once a week, just about review your categories and say, oh, that was daycare, not my mortgage. And you can go through and say, okay, if you see a check for X amount every month, auto categorize that as my mortgage payment. Or if you see, a transaction for whatever amount, auto categorize that as daycare every month, and it'll start to learn, but you have to teach it. So that's why I say it's semi-automatic. It's not fully automatic. It will be so easy once you get this going. It takes maybe 15-20 minutes to get your budget from your Google Sheet to Mint.com. It takes another like 2 minutes to set up your app on your iPhone or Android. And then you have smooth sailing. You have your goals, your prioritized goals, you have your vision, you know where you're heading, you have your budget. It is now in an auto tracker. And in the next video, we'll talk about how to stay motivated, because sometimes you really just want to spend more money than you have. So let's talk in the next video how to stay motivated. And then then you're set up. Then you have a budget you can follow. Then you're following it, you're tracking it, you know what you're doing, and you can accomplish your goals and get to your vision. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you in the next video. And I can't wait to see you in the live session where we go over people's budgets and I tell you what's wrong with them. Submit your budget if you want a chance to see me review it or see one of our financial coaches review it. I look forward to reviewing different budgets. If nobody sends me their budget, I'll review a current client's budget in front of you guys. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Set up your Mint.com, or you need a budget, or every dollar. Set up your budget in Mint.com so you can automatically track it. See you in the next video.